Hi friends, and welcome back to a new video. In this video I want to give you a little breakdown of my ambient live performance called Shelter, which I did last week. The full performance is out here on the channel, you can watch it linked somewhere here. And today I want to give you a little breakdown of what was happening in the performance, the philosophy behind it, the gear used, the sounds used, and the performance techniques. So let's jump right into it. By the way, you can get the whole project file for the Push 3 standalone on my Patreon. Just one note, I've built this whole set using the new beta for the Push 3. So if you want to replay it, you would either need to update your Push 3 to the latest beta firmware, or you wait until Ableton Live 12.3 is out, which hopefully will be in a couple of weeks, and then you can play it back. But yeah, let's speak about the philosophy behind it. So I've purposefully only used two devices, the Push 3 standalone and the Ableton Move. And the main idea behind it was the first one, portability. I wanted to have a setup that is very small and portable and consists of as little devices as possible. So with that, I think this setup here checks all the boxes. Plus, and that's a big plus, it's fully battery powered. So both the Push 3 standalone and the Move run on batteries. Right now I'm charging the Push 3 standalone here, but the Move runs on battery. And yeah, if the Push 3 is charged, I can just unplug this one here and then it's fully battery powered, which is a big plus. The second point I wanted to achieve, and I'll show you this when we dive into the sounds, I wanted to create some sort of interaction between my playing, which I do live, and a machine playing. So I used a sequencer called Sting 2. I've talked about it here on the channel as well. Link is down in the video description. And it's a generative sequencer. So whenever I have a sequence running and I hit the new button here on the Push 3 standalone, it creates a new sequence that I can then react to, which is very fun to do. And the last point mainly was I wanted to have something improvised, because when I do my live performances right now, it takes a lot of preparation. I have to get all the stems from my songs ready, and I then have to think about transitions. And while I love doing that, I wanted to have a setup where I can just start from a blank page. I mean, you can see it here when I go into the clip launch page on Push. Everything is empty, and so here on the Move, there's no clips, nothing pre-recorded. Everything will be recorded in the moment, and that's something I really enjoy. And yeah, that is just a different level of live performance, I have to say, and it's so much fun to do. So yeah, these are mainly the 3 points why I chose to get into this setup here. All right, now let's finally get into the setup and see what we have here. We have on the Push 3, which is kind of like the master device, we have 8 different channels. The first 7 are instrument channels. So I can just, if I bring up the sound here, I can play those sounds live. And the 8th channel is here, the Ableton Move. And the reason why I have it here on channel 8 is because I love to use this mixer view to mix sound in and out. So when I have, for example, recorded here a pattern on the Ableton Move, I could then just fade it out and fade it back in. As easy as that. That's a big part of the performance that we will speak about a little bit later. Let's first see what sounds we have. The first channel here is a bass sound, and I can kind of like switch here between from the mixer view to the device view, and then I can shape the sounds further, reduce some of the overtones so that we really just have a bass sound. The second one here is a plug. Which sounds like this. Super nice. I mainly use it to play overtones like this, or not overtones, but basically higher pitched notes when the mix is fully running. Then the next one is a keys. sorry, which is this dusty pad, which I really like. And I mainly use it layered together with this pad here, which is from my sound pack. It sounds like this. And then we have 3 different arps. The first one sounds like this. Really nice. Then we have a little bit more of a punchier arp. Which actually also layers really nicely with the first arp. And then we come to track number 7. And track number 7 is a special track because this is the one I'm using Sting on. You can already see when I switch between the tracks, the interface here is different. So when I start to play it now and bring it in, there's already a sequence playing. So this is generatively sequenced by Sting 2. As I said, I already have a larger breakdown of the device, but basically what Sting 2 can do is you have here on the push, now you can choose basically different types of generative patterns. Then you can choose here basically how many notes are put into your sequence. So if I just, this is just 4 notes, and obviously if I put in 16 notes, the sequence gets way more crowded. And here it's basically the length of the pattern. So now it's set to 12 steps, but I can also set it to 16. Or I can set it to 4. Very basic. But yeah, this already gives you some performance to play with. And here is the keyboard, which I really enjoy in this performance because I can actually transpose the sequence on the fly. So we start here, and if I press this button, it's transposed up from C to F or to G and back to C, which brings me actually to the next point. The whole piece kind of like is in C Phrygian. I've set it here in the scale. You can see here it's set to C Phrygian. And by the way, here on the move, it's in the same, so C Phrygian, so that whatever notes I play, they are always in key. And the great thing about Sting is Sting has a mode where it can follow the key in the project. So when I set the project key to C Phrygian, Sting follows it, which is great. However, and that's interesting, when you kind of like play the notes here on the keyboard, sometimes when you transpose it, the notes are not longer in key, which you might think, that's a bad thing. But actually, it's kind of cool because sometimes you get some dissonant notes in there, which can spice up a little bit the performance, which actually I find really cool. So that's track number 7, and then I already said it. Track number 8 is the Ableton Move, which has 4 tracks. The first one is some keys. And I mainly use the Move when I'm doing something else here on the device. For example, here I'm, doing some mixing performance so that I can, or that I still have a keyboard to play live on top, which is actually very handy because sometimes, and also here when I'm in this Sting mode, then basically I don't have a keyboard, so I can't play notes here. So this is kind of like when we have the sequence running here. Let's maybe open up the filter a little bit. And now I can basically play on top of that and still transpose that here. There already the interaction with the machine starts. That's what I said in the beginning, because I like to have this generative stuff happening here, and then whatever gets generated in the sequencer, I can, with however I play, react to that. I've already spoken about some of the performance effects, but obviously there's way more to this setup. So the main thing I've already showed you is we are here in C Phrygian and everything is quantized to that scale, which is great because then I can kind of like play sounds in whatever way I want and still be in key. And that is really cool because with that I can just open different sounds and start to record and play them on top of each other. So that's one big performance aspect. So for example, let's say we're here in the mixer mode. By the way, you might notice when I start the sequencer starts on both devices at the same time. And there's no USB or MIDI cable connected, and that is through Ableton Link. Ableton Link is a technology where you can link different Ableton devices. I think it also works with Tractor and some other devices where you can just link them without a cable. They need to be in the same Wi-Fi in order to work, but then you can just turn Link on, connect the devices, and then they will start the sequencers at the same time, which I think is really cool because that makes obviously playing in the sounds way easier. All right, let's say we have this little ARP here, and now I want to record a pad on top of that. So I could either do that without even listening because I know the tracks are in key, or the scale is locked, so to say, and then I can record and then bring the sound in. Let's quickly do that, just a short sequence. I like to then switch here in the clip mode to see kind of like what I'm doing. And I really like to record a little bit off the grid. So now we have 2 bars, now we have 4 bars. Let's actually make this, I don't know, a 6-bar sequence. Sweet, okay. And now I could start to bring that sound in. Nice. As I said, I like to layer both of my pads here together. So to do that, it's actually quite easy. We have now the recorded clip, and I can now duplicate that. And maybe let's start this one here at a different interval so that they're kind of like playing the same sequence, but at different times. And now the second pad comes in. Maybe let's bring the pads a little bit down. And that's already 2 very important performance aspects. So the first one is kind of like playing stuff in here live and then using this mixer here to bring sounds in and out. So for example, what we could now also do is to duplicate that clip, copy it here to the ARP, mute the ARP, and then when it starts to play, we bring it in. And maybe out again. And that's kind of like how you can then start to build your performance. While I did that, I realized, okay, there's already some great sounds in there, but it sounds a little dry. The sounds need to be glued together. And that is why I recorded here. If I go to the main track and then go here in the device menu, I created this. I call it the Master Performance Effects rack. I can control which effects are being mixed in and affect all the sounds, even the ones coming here from the Move. Let's just maybe on top of that, I'll just record some sounds here. From the keys. was one note that I didn't like. I think it was this one here. Yeah. Nice. And now I can start to bring in some effects here. So the first one here is an echo. Hear the sounds echoing a little bit. And the cool thing is this echo obviously here also has the feedback. I've mapped it to that, so I can bring that up. And the echo also has a noise, which is really nice for ambient. So already a lot you can do with that. And then also I mapped here the echo times, which basically means I can switch the times, which gives you this nice little tape delay effect. A little bit of a lo-fi vibe. Super nice. I really like that. So that's kind of like the echo, but then we also have a grain delay and a reverb. I mean, reverb, quite obvious. It's just a very big, long reverb. And if we now combine that with the grain delay, let me show you how the grain delay sounds. Adds these little sparkles on top. And if we use both of them together, we have this beautiful ambient soup that I can now start to get creative with. So let's go back here to the ARP, delete that and say, I want to play the ARP now by hand. Bring it back in. Now we can start to basically jam. Or we could go here to our generated sequence. Let's bring that up a little bit more. Open the filter. There it is. And now we can start to transpose it. Or we change the sequence. To see what we can get. Maybe also less notes, but also make the sequence a little shorter. can hear there's one note in that is out of key. If we move up here, it's back in key, which is really nice to create tension. I really like that. Because even in ambient, you sometimes want a little bit of tension, which I think is really cool. Yeah, and then obviously all the performance effects you have here on your sounds. Different filters, modulation amounts. It's like, I don't know, to me it feels like a huge playground where I have all these options and I know whatever I do, it kind of like always sounds nice. So it really invites for exploration and playfulness, and that's something I really love about this setup and what I definitely want to explore further, because whenever I get this running, I'm always into the zone and kind of like, yeah, wanting to make something with it, and that's really inspiring. So yeah, that's basically the whole setup. Just one last thing I forgot to mention is here on the master channel, we not only have the performance effects here, we also do have an EQ, because I just cut here at around 136 Hertz. I just did a little bit of a dip here of 6 dB because there were some resonances which I didn't like, so I pulled them out. And then the whole thing is running through my mastering template, which I built for Ableton Live and Push 3 standalone. And yeah, it just makes sure that all the levels are in control, that the dynamics are fine, that there's no massive peaks. So it's a nice little evolving sausage, so to say. And yeah, that's kind of like, that rounds up the whole setup. And yeah, that's it for this breakdown. I hope you did enjoy a little bit of a deep dive into the setup. As I said, I really love making music with that. And the cool thing is that the move here as kind of like a counterpiece to the push is kind of like optional, because now, I mean, it's connected, but if I say at one moment, and that's pretty sure something I'll do in the future, I want to exchange the move with another instrument, I can just do that. So just unplug it, keep the channel here, and then plug in another instrument. Like, for example, one of my Patreons recommended to try it with the Moog Mother 32, which I think is a really nice idea, because I could also see, for example, Sting 2 sequencing the Moog Mother 32, and then I play all the other instruments reacting to that sequence. That could be really nice. Digitone would also be a nice option to pair here as a stereo synthesizer. So yeah, if you'd want to see that, just let me know in the comments. And if you have any questions, obviously, just feel free to ask. And I can't wait to see you again for next video. Hope you have a brilliant day and stay creative. Bye-bye.